We have here for our talk Dr. Manu Baligar. As said here, he is a Kannada writer, playwright, former civil servant and president of Kannada Sahitya Parishad. He held the post of Commissioner of Development of Kannada and Culture. And then he is the only bureaucrat to receive honorary doctorate for literature from Karnataka University, Dharwad. And he was conferred with gold medals on IRDP during career as civil servant. And he authored over 30 books of different genres. And then the legendary U.R. Anandamurthy said, Dr. Manu Baligar is one of the competent writers amongst us. I have felt that he is a writer with a mature outlook. I have liked the temper of his writing that doesn't sacrifice the gentleness of feelings. Sir, congrats on receiving Sri Chenna Renuga Basava Award very recently. And then you're sitting here as the representative of rich heritage of Kannada literature, which boasts of the most number of Jnanpith awardees in India, 8 in number. So we would like to hear your initiation into literature and development of it.
In my knowledge, as far as I know, there is no other legislature in India which has organized such an international book festival anywhere in the history. It is a historical record in itself by any legislature of Indian arena. Kudos to you all for such an event taking place here in Thiruvananthapuram. Of course, attraction towards books and towards reading is at its peak in Kerala. I recall my days of total literacy movement in Karnataka. At that time, when all other states in India were struggling to achieve, say, about 90% of literacy, Kerala had already achieved 100% literacy at that time. Probably, this knowledge-based background has been the main cause for such an historical event. Books make our future and build our personality in a very befitting way. The importance of books has been seen as a knowledge bank of a state. Even to define the nature of a person, it is better to see the quotation of one, Friedrich Nietzsche, I quote, "You should not be afraid of someone. You should not be afraid of someone who has a library and reads many books. You should be afraid of someone who has only 1 or 2 books and he considers it or them as sacred, but he has never read them." That means we who read many books are harmless. See, person who reads books is harmless. So this quote probably explains today's situation of India and elsewhere. Religious militancy is the natural outcome of too much of reliance and glorification of holy scriptures of the concerned faiths, whichever faith it may be. We can see this book festival as a medium for making the readers and writers harmless one, as it makes them to taste the gist and essence of many books here in this great event. Again, let me quote a good old slogan, Swadeshe Pujyate Raja Vidwan Sarvatra Pujyate. It is only a highly knowledgeable person or a genius to say he is respected everywhere, irrespective of any boundary limitations, or the king or the rulers are respected only in their kingdom or in their restricted administrative limits. When this being the case, that the learned one, that is the writer or the thinker, poet, artist, and the like, are respected more by and held high in the eyes of the common man, we may think of some responsibility entrusted to this enlightened class. I pursue the topic my life as an author and a writer, and also changing responsibilities of Indian writers in this broader perspective. Then let us begin our discussion like this. Should there be any responsibility to the writer? If yes, what type? And why? And also, to what extent? How far? If the answer is no responsibility for the reader, because there are people who say that, then also our question would be why and to what extent. Now, answer to above questions may be as follows. The title Changing Responsibility of a Writer itself indicates that there is a responsibility on a writer, and it has been there and now it is changing. But when we say yes, there should be a responsibility to a writer, we mean to say that literature is the mirror or reflection of the society, and the writer gets a lot of material and input for his writing from the society. Most of the content of his creation is taken from out of the surrounding around him, and for that at least he, the writer or the artist or the enlightened, has a responsibility towards it, that is society, naturally. Now, this responsibility once poured upon a person of this character, will it not hinder his creativity? Apart from cutting down his freedom of expression, that is, to extend it a little further, the fundamental rights and constitutional provisions, etc., and violation of them. On the one hand, it is writer's freedom, and on the other hand, it is reasonable restrictions or expected duties. Now comes, if the responsibility is to be there for a writer, then to what extent it should be? It can be answered as to the extent possible or in a minimum scale. Nothing in literature can be quantified, of course, but the need of the hour is calling for it, and the writer has to listen to it. It definitely is not the unwanted and uncalled for restrictions by the state government or the central government, whatever it is. Unitedly, let us all defy and oppose any such restrictions whenever they are imposed by the authorities. If the answer to the question raised above is no responsibility to the writer, the advocates for which may not put forth the same argument of mitigation and suppression of creativity, which is a natural instinct. Creativity is a natural instinct, and is also, they are supported by legal provisions. I recall here the answer given by a very great writer in Bangalore some 20 years ago, while answering a question posed to him in a seminar on his place. He was very curt in saying that some obscene scenes were there in the drama and had some bad influence on the especially youth of those days. That writer doesn't owe, he says, any responsibility to the society. He says, no, writer doesn't owe any responsibility towards the society. He put it, social responsibility is not my job. To answer such irresponsible statement or stand, we may go back to our olden days, that is to say, our epics and other rituals also in all the faiths I am telling, not only only one faith. We may go back and the so-called writers there did perform their responsibility of giving a message of victory of the good over the evil. Whether it is ancient days or prehistoric days or medieval age, whatever it is. Always the literature of the world, I am telling. Literature means literature of anywhere. It has stood for victory of the good over the evil. Valmiki, Vedavyasa have been a role model in this because they have advocated this. The cruelty, greed, jealousy, unlimited wants have been there in man during that period, and even today they are there as they were. The greed of expansion of kingdom and the crave for wealth and woman and jealousy were the root cause of war there in ancient days of those epics of India and elsewhere in the world. Even today, it is the same. We have not learned any lesson from the savage and unlimited calamities of war put forth in those holy books. Duryodhana says no and turns down the humble demand of 5 villages to the Pandavas. This led to a great war, and as a result, a huge destruction and the deluge took place. The war between Israel and Hamas and so-called Ukraine and Russia are nothing but the exhibition of the same characters of Mahabharata and Ramayana. These are the anti-war epics in the world as they have shown the catastrophe caused by the war. The responsibility of a writer today in India or elsewhere is the same, that is to say, to oppose and condemn the violence and war and to establish peace and non-violence. Issues might have changed. Subject is changed. The communal and religious mutual hatredness, imperialism, fundamentalism probably have been the main cause of friction and war. So the changed responsibility is to deal with such various emerging challenges. Kannada poetry, a little about Kannada poetry in this connection. Kannada poetry also since beginning, say for over 2000 years, pleaded for non-violence, peace, equality and humanity, and well-being of the human being and society at large. U.R. Anantamurthy brands the writer as a critical insider, and one has to be like that and assess the institutions, the surroundings around him, and when necessary should condemn the communal elements, autocratic, undemocratic decisions, and corruption and nepotism in administration. Sri Vijaya, in the 9th century of Karnataka, his book Kaviraja Marga envisaged the importance of coexistence, communal harmony, which is most important today, and rational thinking. Then great poet Pampa of 10th century put it as whole mankind is one family. Vachanakars of 12th century pleaded for total equality and humanity and abolition of untouchability and said compassion and kindness are the essence and basis of any religion. And also they propagated the idea of universal brotherhood. The Vachanakars, Dasaru and Tattvapadakars of Bhakti cult, that is medieval age, Kuvempu, Karant, Niranjan, Kattimani of these times, modern times, Lankesh, Nissar Ahmad, Tejasvi, Devnur, Sidlingaya Bargur are the other few notable names of modern times in this ideology. Putting efforts to eradicate communal elements, fundamentalism, inequality and violence in the society has to be the responsibility of any writer. What is appearing in Kannada language or literature is also there in Malayalam, Hindi, Telugu, Tamil, in almost all languages of India, including the English. Literature has no barriers of language, state or countries. It has stood for empathy, well-being of the society. Writers in minority, when compared to the society, they are in minority. They are recognized as intellectuals that already have told. So his responsibility today is more than that of any other time. A Pakistani poet, Ghanshyam Agarwal, explains in a poem of him that in spite of their being a poet, a writer, or an artist, bombs are being produced in the world. So, punish 10 times more than the politician who was mainly responsible for the production of the bomb. See, how much responsibility he gives to the writer and artists and the intellectuals. If the politician is beaten or whipped once, the intellectual should be whipped 10 times, he says. So let us take the responsibility voluntarily as a token of gratitude towards the society. In globalization, the globalization has put us in a common house, though we may like it or we may not. Contamination and pollution of air in one country due to industrialization or war, big industries, spoils the climate of nearby countries. The polluted underground water and rivers of one state in India or anywhere surely spoil the underground and surface waters of other adjacent states. The farmers' problems have remained unsolved so far. Global warming is alarming. So responsibility and concern of all writers should be to address such sensitive problems. Racial disturbances, threat to the plurality in India. Because ours is, the plurality is the strength of India. And as all of us know, unity in diversity is the need of the hour. We are multilingual, multicultural, multi-faiths country, and any threat to mitigate or restrict this cordial aroma has to be protested. There are a few more common issues like this which are to be addressed carefully and equally by all of us. Let us do that. Let us begin now. Thank you one and all. My special thanks are due to the Honorable Speaker Mr. Samseer of the Kerala Legislative Assembly and Mr. Bashir and other officers and my writer friend Mr. Prabha Verma and Kabana here, and to all of you for having given me a patient hearing. Thank you. I will be very happy to answer the questions posed by you if at all there are any. Otherwise, Kabani is there to put some queries. Thank you.
Now I think we can move on to some discussion on what you said already. Sir, you have been the president of Kannada Sahitya Parishad since 2016 till very recently, and it flourished well under your leadership. And it is the apex body for the promotion of Kannada literature and language. Can you say something about the functions and activities done by Kannada Sahitya Parishad?
Kannada Sahitya Parishad is the apex body of literature in Karnataka. When I was there, the membership went up to 360,000 life members. Probably, in my opinion, as there is no other legislature in India who has conducted such an event, there is no other organization in India or anywhere outside India so big as Kannada Sahitya Parishad. Is there any literary organization which has got something like now 4.5 lakhs life members? I think no. Probably no. So, it was a great pleasure for me, having worked for about 38 years before contesting the election for this post. I held many posts, directors, general directors, then commissioner, and project director, something like that, CEO. All that experience helped me in winning this election with a majority of 60% votes, total polled by me. I thought something different should be done by me because of my literary background. So only a few I will name, which are the first of its kind in the history of literature of Karnataka. Kannada Sahitya Parishattu. Government of Karnataka had conducted 2 World Kannada conferences, one in Mysore and another in Belgaum. But Kannada Sahitya Parishattu itself conducted 2 international conferences, 5 national conferences. Of course, national conferences were being held every year, one. Old Kannada, because of classical status to Kannada, after that, Telugu, Malayalam, they have also got known. So, I thought some old Kannada or classical Kannada All India Conference also conducted. In Bahrain, with the help of Bahrain Kannada Sangha, we conducted International Kannada Sahitya Sammelana. With the help of Nepal, Kala.com, we brought out a book for the first time in the international level. 51 authors to Nepali language and from there to Kannada language. So, and some Kannada bhavans are being built by Kannada Sahitya Parishattu. Earlier, it was suffering from lack of funds. During my time, any party, there was BJP, there was Congress, there was JDS in the ruling, but they never became any hurdle in giving the funds to Kannada Sahitya Parishattu. I should be grateful to all the governments at that time. So my experience like this went on to promote the artists, writers, and other conferences wherein only students used to participate. Agriculture farmers used to participate. So like that, it went on in a very, very high position. Kannada Sahitya Parishat did its best during my 5 years' time. In spite of this COVID 2 years, we brought out very, very valuable books. Mahila Sahitya Samputa, Women Writers Editions, 8 volumes we brought out. Then Dalita Sahitya Samputas, volumes of Dalit literature, 10 volumes we brought out. So like that, there are many to tell. These are a few firsts in Kannada Sahitya Parishat.
Sir, along with this another topic, sir, Kannada literature, even though we are neighbors, has not been translated enough into Malayalam. We have Indian Malayali, Mr. Sudhagaran Ramandali. He got Kendra Sahitya Akademi Award. Yes. He directly translates from Kannada into Malayalam. And then even he has translated 32 works and all that. And then in total, not more than 200 works, Kannada works have been translated into Malayalam. And I know that you are a translator, and I myself as a translator would be curious to know what are the initiatives in this field.
Yes. I have translated around 207 small poems of Rabindranath Tagore from English to Kannada. As far as translation from Malayalam to Kannada is concerned, it has not been done to the expected level. Now that I have come here and participated for the first time, thanks to Honorable Speaker Sri Shamsirji and Mr. Basirji, I am very much grateful to you. Henceforth, there will be more interaction between the languages and the literature, so that more of translation work will be taken up. Definitely, we will do more.
May I translate some of your works, sir?
Yeah, definitely. Anyone else here can also come forward. Out of 32 books, I can give 4, 5 or many to any translator here.
Okay, thank you,
sir. It is an honor for me also.
I noticed another thing, sir. You experiment with almost all forms of literature. Genres like short story, play, biography, and then you are a columnist in Prajavani also. And then poetry, everything, biography. Is it there a conscious effort to dabble in different forms of literature, or it came naturally?
Yeah. I think for a writer, no barrier to write only this or only that. In olden days, the whole literature itself was called as Kavya. Kavya means at that time, not only poetry, but maybe a play, maybe short stories, novels. All these were included in Kavya. Kavi means a writer at that time. Now, of late, everything is defined in a specific way. For me, when I was reading the newspapers, I should be grateful to newspapers and weeklies and all that, media persons. I am extremely grateful to them. Because from the age of 12, I started reading newspapers, weeklies and magazines. there some short stories and these serials, poems, articles, columns, they attracted me a lot. I took keen interest in reading them. Then there was a small library in our village. At that time, my village population was hardly 3,600 population. There was a small library. There were novels and all newspapers used to come there. So I used to read novels, short story books. Then I started thinking after 2-3 years reading of these books, I felt I also can write such poems. I also can write such short stories. So somehow it inspired me. My reading or my deep reading and my serious thinking about those poets and poems and short stories and writers converted me into a writer. So at the age of 14, I started writing poems and they were published in district level magazines. And at the age of 15, I wrote a short story. A brother of mine is also a writer. He is an advocate and he is a JDP president. He says, because he is a writer, the first short story written by me somewhere in 1968, 69 is one of the best short stories of mine. So like this, voracious readership or reading of a person will make him definitely a good reader. Youngsters can note it down.
Sir, you have written so many biographies, including a memoir on your father, and then it includes biographies on former Karnataka Chief Minister S.R. Kanti,
Yes.
and also on Abdul Nasir Saab, and who was a great political figure and Minister for Rural Development.
Yes,
I was earlier in the Rural Development Department, sir.
Yes,
So
yes,
what
yes.
what made you to write such
Yes,
a
yes.
biography?
So instead of Chief Minister's question you asked about Abdul Nazir Saab, the great thinker and the best rural development minister Karnataka or India has seen in the history ever. Abdul Nazir Saab, when he was minister, I was also working in development department, rural development department. One example I will give why I wrote a book on him. It is the first big book on him in Kannada. It is 325 pages. Mr. Abdul Nazir Saab. He is rightly called in Karnataka as Neer Saab. Neer means water. Neer Saab means Nazir Saab. He was so popular. Unfortunately, it is a bad luck of Karnataka that he did not become Chief Minister of Karnataka. Had he lived for another 10 years, he would have definitely been Chief Minister of Karnataka. Such people should be. And he came to review these famine or drought affected areas. I was working in Bijapur. Mr. Nazir Saab came there at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. After 4 p.m. he took the meeting. He did not eat his lunch, had 3 times tea and 2 biscuits. He went to Gulbarga, 170 kilometers. We asked him, sir, at least lunch. No, Baligar, don't worry. I have got best work to do there in Gulbarga. I have to review this drought hit areas programs there. People are waiting there for the past half an hour. I have to reach there in about 1.5 hours. No, I don't want lunch. That, I was so shocked. I think present politicians of India should keep Nazir Saab as a model. His knowledge about rural development and Panchayat Raj, decentralization of powers in Karnataka was done only because of Mr. Nazir Saab and Mr. Ramakrishna Hegde. They started. Earlier it was there in a rudimentary form, and after that different shapes were given to it. But Mr. Abdul Nazir Saab will be always remembered for water supply to the rural development, rural areas, and also for the other schemes of shelter, ashray and other things, and decentralization of powers, making the Gram Panchayat Adhyaksha as Pradhan. There were Mandal Panchayats, MPs they were called, so they were not MPs. Pradhans of that area is Pradhani of that area, he was telling. So much of powers were given to the Pradhans of the clustered villages Panchayat and also at the district level, Jilla Parishad and Jilla Panchayat afterwards. So such a great thinker he was. And he was implementing his ideas.
Sir, a memoir on your father. It's actually, when a son writes about his father, it's a great tribute to the father. So tell us something about your father, sir.
Yeah. No, it is my father who influenced me a lot, maybe as a writer, though he was educated only up to 7th standard because he was a big landlord. My grandfather did not send him for higher education to district places during those years, you know. It was very dangerous also to send. No better facilities. He was a very rational thinker. He has written in our house on the walls, Rashtrakkagi Neenu. You are meant for the country, for the nation. So, leave everything for sake of country. See, which farmer will be having such ideas? A thinker is better than the Rashtrapati himself. Farmer, teacher, and the Sainik, soldier. Shikshak, Sainik, and Krishik. They should be respected to the highest extent in the country, he used to say. So, his preaching and his association with me for about, say, 25 years gave me a lot of enlightenment like this. He used to narrate how a Pailwan was, how the freedom struggle went on, because he took, as an underground worker, he took part in the freedom movement. So, yeah, he was telling everything to us. Whether, once I asked, why this neighbor, our neighbor in the village, is not giving agricultural income tax? At that time, agricultural income tax was there in vogue in India in the 60s and 70s. I was a small boy. I asked him, Appa, this neighbor person is having more lands than us and produced more number of food grains and other things, chilies. Why he is not giving agricultural income tax and why you are giving, I asked. He told me, look here, if he is not giving agricultural income tax to the country, he is an anti-national. He is Rashtradrohi. Don't see such persons. Because we have crossed the limit of income, we have come in higher income group, we must pay. At that time in 1968-69, I went to the district headquarters, now it is district headquarters, at that time it is not district headquarters, Gadag, paid 780 rupees income tax. A farmer's son I was. At that time, gold was 100 rupees for 10 grams. You can assess on that. So, such a Rashtra Bhakta he was. But he used to say, love the poor, no casteism. My grandfather's bodyguard was Khadar Saab. So, all used to eat together. We used to sit here, they used to sit there. Other boys, all communities, caste boys used to be there. Every year, 3-4 boys used to eat food in our house every day. So, this communal harmony and secularism and this sacrifice, these characters came to me from my parents only, my mother and father. They influenced me because of this writing and such good principles. Charity begins at home, all of us know. So it happened like that.
A great heritage to follow, sir. I also want to ask, sir, you are a good organizer also. As part of Kannada Sahitya Parishad and as a bureaucrat also, you have convened so many national and international seminars, including the world-renowned Kannada Vishwa Sammelana. And so you have been here for one day. Yesterday you arrived, yes, and then you have seen the diversity of the topics here and all that. And then we pinpoint on the cultural diversity of Kerala. So what is your take on that, sir?
Already I have told before the Honorable Speaker, just before about an hour, I met him. This population-wise, it may be less. Number-wise, it may be small, visitors and all that. But as a literary event, as a book festival, book fair, book exhibition, I think it is unique. It is no less than any other world literary conferences book exhibition. For that, I give all the appreciation from 7 crore Kannadigas to this international festival. Other states should adopt this method. I took round for about 4 hours here. I saw all the auditoriums, speakers, though I did not understand the Malayalam, I used to grasp the spirit. But so much of activities going on here. It should be the model to other states, and definitely I will go and write a letter to our speaker to have such an event in Bangalore or elsewhere in Karnataka and take guidance from Mr. Samsir, the honorable speaker. Okay? I am very happy.
Happy to hear that, sir. And you have made heavy contributions to both literature and bureaucracy. And for a writer, creativity is the ultimate thing. And then with bureaucracy comes in the inevitable curbs and checks. And myself as a civil servant and writer, I wonder how you harness the challenges.
Yes. Keep your soul pure. The inner should be pure. Then only purity comes out. Telling one thing and doing other thing will, destroy the whole country. If I say I love all equally, all faiths, all sects, all people, all work, because as an administrator also I am telling, if there is a post which is not giving money, people will not like it. So this applies to everything. So first we should be pure, honest to the people, honest to the work. It is said in Kannada, Kayakave Kailas. Basveshwara told Kayaka, work is worship. So the visitor himself is the God. Mahatma Gandhiji tells, whoever comes to my office is the God. Customer is the king also, he told. So in that perception, we should work in government service. Kerala is a very well administered state, as I know, because I know the administrative things here. You are very well managed, well administered state. So be honest. If some officers are there, I am telling, be honest to yourself. Honesty and efficiency will give you all the pleasure, a pleasure of performance, and it makes you to grow. You are never unhappy. Your health will be also good. Your life will be also good. Only honesty, efficiency, transparency, secularism, hard work should be the motto of a government servant anywhere.
Sir, you are Anantamurthy. In a foreword to one of your short story collections, he quotes a story in which one poor man, he goes to his friend who is a higher official, and then it ends in a fantasy and all that. My question is, how you entwine the experiences from the civil service into your style and into your topics?
Experience as a civil servant and experience of a person will be all the same. Events will be different. If a death occurs here, death is, there also it is a death. The reasons for the death, if they are here, they may be different. So, the events will affect us in the similar way, wherever it is. In that way, we should pursue the things. We should not differentiate. So, I take a very much keen interest in every happening around me. So, it gives me a strength to write. Maybe in my house, in my village, in my town, in my neighborhood, in my administration. Everything prompts me to write if there is special. I will change the names, that's all. If I want to write somewhat criticism or condemn something, I will change the names and make him a fictitious character in my short stories and poems. Yes, that's how I was successful. I did not deal with them in their own names.
Okay, sir. I think that we can recite some of your poems, sir.
Yeah, one. Shall I recite one?
Yes.
You will recite, I will recite.
You may, sir.
Okay, as you say. Because now we speak of wars, There are two poems on wars written about 25 years ago. Different Vietnam War was there, Iran-Iraq was the war there. I have written on wars it is. Gospel of Peace, Shanti Sandesha. Thriving is the bird in the bosom's nest, and gliding is it with full of the joys innate. Squashed is she by the gunshots and thunderstorms. Wait, the sound dies down, but hardly for a moment. Mad carousel of fire and counterfire, head-on rivaling of trumpets and trumpets, a sheer play for a sure ruin. A sheer play for a sure ruin. Whimpering is the bird that was born to bounce and soar. Whimpering is the bird that was born to bounce and soar. Mushroomed have the flames of venom, devouring the earthly peace. Auguring is the bird that Buddha cried. Remember those statements. Auguring is the bird that Buddha cried, but spread are the tidings that Buddha smiled. Auguring is the bird that Buddha cried, but spread are the tidings that he smiled. Brimmed is the bird's throat, and cracking is her hip. Wailing is she a dirge, the presage not caught in time would simply wind up the play. Led astray is the world with a breach and breach of treaties. Emptied are the budgets. Emptied are the budgets with the firing and firing of weapons. Altering is the color, doubling is the tongue. Even while the chant of the gospel is on, darkness is about to engulf. Darkness is about to engulf right in the middle of the day, turning being into non-being. That darkness is about to engulf right in the middle of the day, turning being into non-being and vanishing the trace, and vanishing the whole trace. Thank you.